How I study drawing. In this video, I'll be sharing some of my methods of effectively learning how to draw in a short period of time. These are my practice routine that I've been using for almost a year now. So first up, you gotta train your eyes to see better, or your observation skills. When I started drawing, I was just copying my favorite anime, which is not the worst thing you could do, but there's just a number of better ways to draw them, which is studying actual anatomy first, and then drawing the anime stuff after. For me, my whole idea for learning art is studying from real life, which is essential, since this is where everyone gets their ideas from. Art imitates life. Studying from the source of art would give you a solid understanding of how things actually look like. Observation is an important skill to have as an artist, and also storing information in your mind. Having good eyes can help you tell the difference between good and bad drawing, like proportions, especially proportions. For digital artists, a good solution would be to flip the canvas. This can give you a fresh view of your drawing. It's like looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes, which is so helpful that I do this a million times when I'm drawing, because I suck at drawing symmetrical stuff. The drawing has to look good both ways when flipped. So how do you improve your observation skills? Well, start looking, and of course drawing. Observe everything that you see and copy them. I've been doing this for a year now, and it helped me whenever I'm stuck. But you're just drawing random objects. How would this help me in drawing anime? You see, art is all about copying and then drawing them. By training your copying skills, you would eventually be able to draw anything you want. So just copy anything, like people, objects, vehicles, and other random stuff. If you don't know where to find some references, Pinterest would be a good place to start. This is not sponsored, by the way, but this site is the companion for most artists in doing all of these studies. This is a really helpful site where you can find the most useful references imaginable. This is my source of everything from study references or just inspirations. So anyway, train your observation skills, copy stuff, and store them in your mind. Also, you could do all of these with just a pen and paper. You don't need high-end art supplies or an iPad to get good at drawing. Next lesson would be fundamentals. Art fundamentals is small and simple stuff like line, shape, color, value, form, texture, composition, and perspective. Sorry, I said small and simple like it would make it sound easier, but who am I kidding? Art fundamentals have so much depth, it is really overwhelming. I don't even know half of that. So for now, let's focus on none of them, or at least group them together. So first up is shape, form, and lines. So before studying anything, I always take the time to warm up and practice drawing shapes like circles, squares, and cylinders, and then drawing them in 3-dimension, like what I was doing in the start. I also practice some basic perspective to add more depth and complexity to my drawings. These simple shapes can really break down some complicated subject, such as anatomy and other stuff. It is really important to know your fundamentals first before going in with your art style. Now let's use those shape fundamentals to break down some complex objects like anatomy. Next one is using reference. Using references for drawing is incredibly helpful for improving in several ways. First, drawing from references helped me to achieve greater accuracy in my drawings, whether I'm working on a complex subject like clothing folds, lighting, or a detailed scene. Having a visual guide to follow can be essential for getting everything just right. Drawing from reference also allows me to better understand the form of an object by carefully studying the way light falls on an object, its shape, and the way it interacts with other objects. I'm able to gain a deeper understanding of how to represent these things in my drawings. In addition, using references help me to expand my visual library. Each time I draw from reference, I'm essentially adding a new image or idea to my collection. Over time, this helps me to become more familiar with different objects, scenes, and perspectives, which in turn makes it easier to draw them from memory or imagination in the future. Drawing from references also provides opportunities to experiment with different styles and techniques. I also like using mangas as reference like My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and One Punch Man. Just to name a few, there are 2 reasons why I like referencing many artists. First one is I just really like their styles. Even though it's all categorized as anime style, you can still tell them apart from each other, which is why they're great. The second reason is from this quote. If you steal from one person, you're just a thief. But if you steal from everyone, that's research. So I recommend learning from multiple artists, or at least borrow their idea. Now let's explore the advantages of using references, but this time with head studies. So first, it trains your accuracy. By using references, you can ensure that your drawings are anatomically correct and proportionate. This is especially important when it comes to drawing heads, as even small mistakes in the placement or size of facial features can significantly impact the overall likeness and expression of the subject. Realism. Drawing from references can help you create more realistic and lifelike drawings. When you study real-life examples of heads and faces, you can learn how light and shadow interact with the contour of the face, and how different features contribute to overall facial expressions and emotions. Creativity. While using references can help you achieve accuracy and realism in your drawings, it can also inspire creativity. By studying the work of other artists or real-life examples, you can discover new ways of representing facial features, expressions, and emotions. And lastly, efficiency. Using references can help you work more efficiently and save time. By having a clear example to follow, you can avoid the need for trial and error and focus on creating high quality drawing in a shorter amount of time. Here's an example of a sketch that I made. It's not completely accurate, but it still works since we are not recreating the image, rather taking ideas from it, specifically the angle of the face. If you're struggling to copy the reference, draw some lines or trace your reference, but only do this for your studies. And always remember, no one improves overnight. Constant practice is key. Now let's take a look at the skull study I made, which took me 16 minutes to finish. When I started, I'm only focused on the three-dimensional shapes of the skull, thinking of it as a cube, and then adding some circles for the roundness of the actual skull, and then some straight lines to see if most of it are proportional. I took this idea of sketching from the Loomis head method. It's not the perfect copy of the method, but I've been using it since I started drawing, and I've always used it in different ways. When everything is proportional and somehow similar to the skull, we can now move on to painting the values. This part can be a little tricky. I'm not sure if painting the values is easy or not because my brain literally goes to autopilot mode and just copy what it sees. So I'm not really sure, but I guarantee after copying a bunch of things, this would be easy for you, I think. Lastly, consistency. All of these won't matter if you don't do this consistently. Don't draw with motivation, but by discipline. Even if your worst days, practice, learn, fail. Take a break, but always come back. And always remember, art is not about talent. It's about dedication and how much time you're willing to give. Strive for something great, and in time, you will get there. That's it. Hope you learned something. Subscribe. Good luck. Peace.